Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachadi. Jamunatira Vanachadi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Girivardhari. Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachadi. Yamunatira Vanachadi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parividakacharya Astatarasatasi Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavadinda Ki Gaur Premanandi. Happy birthday, right? Yeah. How many? 13. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You know what that means? Turmoil. Turmoil. Teenage turmoil. TT. But welcome to the ride. So we're going to continue with a whole series of verses that starts with text 11. And I'm going to, we finished only a portion, and we're going to wade through the rest because it's a lot, the rest. Text 11 translation reads, Hearing about Krishna's pastimes with Varuna, the cowherd men considered that Krishna must be the Supreme Lord, and their minds, O king, were filled with eagerness. They thought, will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his transcendental abode? As if they weren't already there. So, this text 11 is part of a series that goes through text 17 that I'll repeat it again and again, and I hope you don't mind hearing it again and again, because we're going to be hearing it again and again. Our acharyas taking those verses and churning the nectar. So we're going to start with Jiva Goswami's Krishna Sandarbha, not his commentary on this verse specifically, but it's on the topic of prakat and aprakat. We're going to hear a whole bunch of, so listen carefully so you don't have to ask it. It was said that Goloka was a special manifestation of Vrindavan. It will be established that Goloka appears for revealing pastimes not seen in the material world. Aprakat. Since one does not see the word Goloka used for the abode of the prakat pastimes, and one hears of its slight difference from the prakat pastimes. The difference in pastimes of the prakat and aprakat abodes will be shown later. This idea is explained by showing the manifestation of Goloka in Vrindavan, which is what's going to happen at the end of this chapter. Krishna takes the residents of Vrindavan to the same place where Akura had his vision and shows them the aprakat feature, that part that they think they can't see because they're in the prakat pastimes. Okay, so translation. Nanda Maharaj had been astonished to see for the first time the great opulences of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet, and also to see how Varuna and his servants had offered such humble respect to Krishna. Nanda described all this to his fellow cowherd men. And the commentary by Jiva Goswami is Atindriyam, because it's Nanda's tu, Atindriyam. Atindriya means not previously seen. And in that same verse, Nandas tu atindriyam drishtva lokapala mahodayam. Lokapala means Varuna, Varuna's abode. Next, hearing about Krishna's pastimes with Varuna, that's this verse, the cowherd men considered that Krishna must be the Supreme Lord in their minds, O king, were filled with eagerness. They thought, will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his abode? Difficult to understand. They wondered about this. Will he have us attain his abode? Difficult to understand. Next verse. Because he sees everything, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, automatically understood what the cowherd men were conjecturing, wanting to show his compassion to them by fulfilling their desires. The Lord thought as follows. I don't know how Krishna thinks. He didn't say it. This is his mind. My eternal associates, wandering in this world among people who take higher and lower bodies because of karma, desire, and ignorance do not know other things as their goal. And then there's some, you're going to hear this repeatedly. Jana is making reference to his eternal associate cowherd fellows. Jana means the people of Vraja, his own people, as in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29-13. Quote, the devotees, Jana, desire only service to the Lord, giving up salokya, etc. If there is no service, swa gatim, in this verse, swa gatim, we spent a lot of time yesterday with swa gatim, and we're going to hear some more. His own abode indicates that the Lord considers oneness of himself and the devotees in that place. These are the highest devotees. Here, the word jana does not refer to people in general who do not have him as their goal, but to the people of Vraja. So jana generally means just people, but in this case it's specific. Then to confirm, he makes reference to 10:25:18. So this is chapter 28, so going back a few chapters. Govardhan Leela. I must therefore protect the cowherd community by my natural powers, for I am their shelter, I am their protector, and indeed I am everything to them. I have taken a vow to protect my devotees. The Lord says they are his family. That they are his associates is shown by mat charanam. Mat sharanam. They have taken shelter of him. He has made the vow to protect them. He shows compassion to the people of Vraja and not to others. Paragraph. That abode was difficult to understand. And here's this other word, sukshmam. Can mean different things. Subtle. Remember the form of the Shringadev within the pillars, given that same term, sukshmam. Difficult to understand here. Among those who have high or low bodies, that's people that are born in this world, such as devas and animals, that's high and low bodies, by ignorance, etc., who are mistaken about their goal, the cowherds, because they identify with common people, do not know my abode. The error they make is only by Leela Shakti of the Lord for increasing the rasa of pastimes. Since they have the highest prema, it has nothing to do with ignorance. And he makes references. 10:11:58. Translation. In this way, all the cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram and played with them. They never perceived material tribulations. And then chapter 14, that's Brahma's prayers. O Lord, what can you give to the people of Vraja whose houses, possessions, friends, dear ones, bodies, sons, life, heirs, and hearts are dedicated only to you? By Krishna's desire, this illusion lasted a few moments. And by showing them his abode, which is coming up, which is most remarkable, the illusion would dissipate. The astonishing nature of the abode will be explained. Paragraph. So Krishna goes on, thus, deeply considering the situation, the all-merciful Supreme Lord revealed to the cowherd men his abode, Goloka. Now, what does Goloka mean? It's his uppercut pastimes, which is beyond Prakriti. That's the text. Swam Lokam Gopanam means Goloka, the place of the Gopas. Quote, he is ornamented completely with unlimited gopis and cowherds. That's a quote from Ritu Sanjaya Tantra. And then from Narada Pancharaksha. In 4 directions, at the gates of the city, shaped like a lotus, are hundreds of thousands of gopis, cowherds, like Balaram and elder cowherds. Paragraph. The place beyond Prakriti, with great powers, is described, as well as in Brahma Samhita, with Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu. That place is beyond Prakriti, Tamasa Param. That place, free of matter, does not mix with matter. The next verse describes its spiritual nature. Quote, Krishna revealed the place which was existent knowledge, infinity, eternity, and self-effulgent. Sages see that place in trance when their consciousness is freed from the modes of material nature. Paragraph. That was a translation of a verse. So here's commentary. That place was Brahman, full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Sages free of matter see it. Krishna showed them that place, Goloka, with inherent knowledge and bliss by a manifestation of the action of his Swarup Shakti. Similarly, Vaikuntha is shown to be non-different from Brahman in Padma Purana, as quoted in Bhagavad Sandarbha. There it is said, this is Padma Purana, quote, Krishna brought the cowherd men to Brahma Radha, Radha means lake, made them enter the water, and then lifted them up from it where Akrura would see Vaikuntha. Soon the cowherd men saw Goloka. Paragraph. Seeing Goloka in Vrindavan occurs for people living in this place. Thus he brought them to Akrura Tirtha, or Brahma Hridam. By his order they were submerged in its waters, and then brought out of the water by him. Bringing them out, he led them to a place within Vrindavan, and they saw the planet of Krishna called Goloka there. Krishna is Brahman in human form. The Tirtha was where in the future Akrura saw Vaikuntha. Though it is possible for Krishna to show Goloka anywhere in Vrindavan, he submerged the people there in order to reveal the glory of that place, or for amusement. And then the final verse in this series, text 17, because it's 8 verses. Quote, Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men felt the greatest happiness when they saw that abode. They were especially amazed to see Krishna there, surrounded by the personified scriptures who were offering him prayers. Unquote. Paragraph. He was praised by the Vedas in personal form in order to inform others about his birth and other pastimes. The intimate associates were cows and cowherds, as previously described. Just as they saw Krishna, they saw themselves. Nothing is mentioned about this, since different associates were not seen. The text does not say that they saw a different set of associates. What were 2 forms manifested as Prakriti and Aprakat now became one form. The prakat entered into the aprakat form. As mentioned in Ritu Sanjaya Tantra and Harivangsha paragraph. They saw Krishna. This means the place is Goloka and not Vaikuntha. Because of this, they became filled with the highest bliss and became astonished, since he alone is complete, and appeared as their son. Paragraph. When there is difference in the manifestations for nourishing rasa of the pastimes, the Leela Shakti creates apparent difference with no mutual intersection. That's this prakat and aprakat place. This will be illustrated later. For this reason, Krishna says that they were bewildered about their goal. Because the people of Braja had such a desire, the Lord revealed their planet in this form to them. It should not be considered a different manifestation, since, being all-powerful, the Lord can reveal infinite types of manifestations of His form, associates, abode, and pastime simultaneously in one place. In this way, the meaning is harmonized. Shukadeva Goswami speaks the verse. And it's going to go through all of this again a couple more times. So here's Krama Sandarbha, short. The friends of Nanda Maharaj, all the cowherd men, became eager to know if Krishna were actually the Supreme Personality and if he was going to give them all salvation. And now, interesting, Brahma Samhita. This is now text 5 of Brahma Samhita, towards the beginning of the whole Brahma Samhita, Jiva Goswami's commentary. Not Bhakti Siddhanta's, but directly Jiva Goswami's commentary. This Gokula is surrounded by an astonishing square area called Svetadweep, or Goloka. This is divided into 4 parts, which are the abodes of 4 Vishnu forms, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Anuruddha, and Pradyumna. Goloka is endowed with the 4 goals of human endeavor. That's in the spiritual world, not just here. And with the methods to attain them. It is guarded by obstructions in the form of 10 spears in the 10 directions, including up and down. It is endowed with the 8 treasures, that's Bhagavan, the Bhagas, and 8 siddhis. It is surrounded by the 10 protectors of the directions in the form of their mantras, as well as the 4 Vedas. It is resplendent with astonishing Shaktis. That's text 5 of Brahma Samhita. And commentary by Jiva Goswami. 4 verses describe the enclosure around Gokula. Around the outer portion of Gokula is a square area called Svetadweep. This is another name for Goloka. Though it may be said that Gokula partakes of the nature of Svetadweep, it is acknowledged as a different place, since in this verse the different name designates a different area. But it should be understood that the place called Vrindavan, or Gokula, exists within the square area. The Swayambhuva Agama, after stating, quote, the pure soul should meditate on all this step by step, then says, quote, In the center, one should meditate on Vrindavan, full of flowers, trees, and birds, unquote. Paragraph. In the Brihat Vamana Purana, before the prayers of the Shrutis, there are the following verses, quote, "If you are going to give us a boon, show us that form which the ancient sages say is completely bliss." Having heard this, he showed them his own planet, beyond matter, undecaying and unchanging, composed only of bliss. In this place there was a forest called Vrindavan, furnished with desire trees, attractive groves, and the happiness of all seasons. Sounds like that what we just heard. Paragraph. There are 4 expansion forms, starting with Vasudeva, situated in 4 dhammas by dividing that square area into 4 parts, chatuskritam. These forms are situated in celestial chariots for performance of eternal pastimes in Svetadweep or Goloka. This area is endowed with the 4 goals of human endeavor, or purushartha, and the means for accomplishing them, hetubihi. It is also surrounded by the 10 protectors of the directions, beginning with Indra, in the form of their mantras, or Manu Rupai. The colors, black, yellow, red, and white, Shamayr, Gorais, Cha, Raktais, Suklais, Cha, refer to the 4 Vedas. Similarly, the 10th canto describes the presence of the Vedas in Goloka. In the following verse from chapter 28, text 17, which is the verse that we just read. Or, no, excuse me, it's one of the coming up verses. Krishna's Chatatra Chando Bhi Stuya Manam Suvismita. They, the cowherd men, were especially amazed to see Krishna himself there, surrounded by the personified Vedas who were offering him prayers. Then Shakti or Shakti-bihi refers to Vimala and others. Like Bhakti Siddhanta's birth name was Vimala Prasad. It's not the demigod Vimala, although she has that name too. It's in the spiritual world. The one here is the facsimile of the one there, or expansion. Paragraph. This place called Goloka, parentheses, surrounding Gokula, is described in the Bhagavatam. And then it goes through all these 8 verses. This is Jiva Goswami's commentary on Brahma Samhita, text 5. And he's covering these verses from 28th chapter. I'll read it, so we're going to hear it again. Nanda Maharaj had been astonished to see for the first time the great opulence of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet, and also to see how Varuna and his servants had offered such humble respects to Krishna. Nanda described all this to his fellow cowherd men. And in that verse, the word atindriyam is found in it. Atindriyam means astonishing. Then, so that's text 10. Now we're going to the ones we haven't heard yet, text 11. The cowherd men considered that Krishna must be the Supreme Lord, and their minds, O King, were filled with eagerness. They thought, will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his transcendental abode, which is hard to understand, so that's actually text 11 is this morning. paragraph, Swagatim means his own abode. Ukshmam means, it should be with an S, means hard to understand. Upadasyat means, will he bestow this upon us? This is what they decided to ask for. Next, tomorrow's text, text 12. Because he sees everything, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, automatically understood what the cowherd men were conjecturing, wanting to show his compassion to them by fulfilling their desires. The Lord thought as follows. Text 13. My own dearest people, Jana, the inhabitants of Vraja, thinking that they are wandering in this world, etasmin loke, in various destinations such as devas, animals, etc., by their own ignorance, do not know their real abode. And then same kind of explanation. Jana means my own people, the residents of Braja, standing for Sva Jana. The same usage is found in the verse Salokya Sharsti Samipya Sarupya Katvam, etc. Same one, 3:29:13. This is description of devotional service that's beyond the modes. That's chapter 29, devotional service in the modes and beyond the modes. So it's beyond the modes, where Jana stands for Swajana, my devotees. Though Jana can also mean people in general, it is inappropriate in this context. Krishna thinks of all the people of Vraja as his own people. Again, same reference, text 18 of chapter 25, Govardhan Leela. I must therefore protect the cowherd community by my transcendental potency, for I am their shelter, I am their master, and indeed they are my family. After all, I've taken a vow to protect my devotees. These devotees, Jana, are bewildered in high or low bodies of devas and animals concerning their destination, Svam Gatim, their destination in this material world. They think that their destination is the impersonal Brahman, since they play the role of contaminated souls. So I put it in bold letters. They do not know their real goal. This is because for the pastimes of Krishna in the material world, part of their awareness is covered. This is understood from the following statement. Canto 10, chapter 11. In this way, the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure, and they could not even perceive material tribulations. From this statement, it is understood that the inhabitants of Vraja could not actually be afflicted by the activities of lust due to ignorance, avidya kama karma bihi. We're getting a really close-up picture of the consciousness of the residents of Vrindavan. They don't know their exaltedness. They're thinking of themselves like other people and what's going to happen after this. And, yesterday Prakash was asking, does this happen in Goloka? Do they also have these, where are we going next, concerns? It's a Leela. So one can only conjecture, but the conjecture is it's Nitya Leela. Next, text 13. Krishna. Thus, deeply considering the situation, the all-merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, revealed to the cowherd men his own abode, which is beyond material darkness. in commentary. Therefore, he showed them the actual planet of the cowherd men Goloka. Gopanam Svam Lokanam. This planet is beyond Prakriti, Tamasaha, since it arises from his Sarup Shakti. And then, this is important, in the next text, 15, in the Sanskrit it says Brahmajyoti. In commentaries, there's some, like sometimes I've read, there's some, did he just show them Brahmajyoti, or did he show them Goloka, or both, or what? So it's going to be described. Lord Krishna revealed the indestructible Brahmajyoti, spiritual effulgence, which is unlimited, conscious, and eternal. Sages see that spiritual existence in trance when their consciousness is freed of the material modes of material nature. Commentary says this verse describes Goloka as full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Next, text 16, it's only 17. 16. The cowherd men were brought by Lord Krishna to that Brahma Samhita lake, where Akrura would go in the near future, and were submerged in the water, and then lifted them up. The cowherd men then saw the abode of the Lord. Commentary says, this verse explains how Krishna within Vrindavan revealed Goloka to them while they were situated in a different place. He brought them to Brahmahridam or Akrura Tirtha, and he submerged them in that water and pulled them out. On emerging from the water, they attained his abode, the planet which was supremely great, Brahmana Lokam, called Goloka. Brahmaloka can refer to the spiritual planets, as in the following verse, Canto 2, Chapter 5. Salokya, the Satyaloka, the topmost planet, planetary system, is situated on the head of the form. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal. So this is 2.5, Chapter 5 of Canto 2 is Virat. So part of Virat is the head of the universal form. And that's called here, Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of the form, Virat Rupa. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal. Commentary says, by this analysis, Brahmana Lokam refers to a place other than Vaikuntha, but full of majesty. What was the Brahmahridam, that lake? It is the place where, in the future, from the events described, Akrura would come. And then the last of these 8 verses, text 17. Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men felt the greatest happiness when they saw that transcendental abode. They were especially amazed to see Krishna himself there, surrounded by the personified Vedas who were offering him prayers. Pretty interesting, huh? And here we are, transported to the spiritual world, sitting in our living room, and it's like, this Bhagavatam is very amazing. So here's Gopal Champu. Get ready for even more interesting. First examine the statement of the inhabitants of Dwarka. His return to Braja is evident when they said, quote, O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like 1,000,000 years. This did not happen in some other kalpa, when going that is, there's no, anyway. When going on pilgrimage to Kurukshetra, he clearly speaks of the time frame. Quote, Canto 10, Chapter 82. My dear girlfriends, do you still remember me? It was for my relative's sake that I have stayed away so long, intent on destroying my enemies. Paragraph. This states that he will not return until killing the last enemy, Vidurata. After that, finally having the opportunity, Krishna appeared in his own abode before the cowherd people by his Swarup Shakti, invisible to materialistic people. This is stated in the Padma Purana. Similarly, after submerging the people of Braja in Brahmahrada and bringing them out, he showed them his abode according to their desire. Bhagavatam reveals Krishna's intention by this incident. They thought, quote, will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his transcendental abode? That this morning's verse, text 11. People do not know their real destination. Hari revealed to the cowherd men his abode, which is beyond material darkness. They were especially amazed to see Krishna himself there, surrounded by the personified Vedas who were offering prayers. Skanda Purana says, Madhava and Balaram, surrounded by the cows, calves, and cowherd boys, play eternally. The word sada, or eternally, in that verse indicates that Krishna always performs pastimes in Braja, even if he goes to Mathura or Dwaraka, just as Vishnu resides eternally in Vaikuntha, though he may appear in this world to Dhruva or Gajendra. More? There's more. Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami. This is the discussion between Vrindadevi and Purnamasi. Vrindadevi has a special role in, as you hear from Dina Bandhu, in assisting in Krishna's pastime. She coordinates, and she's coordinating on behalf of Purnamasi, so they're talking about Krishna's pastimes. Vrinda, with bliss, eagerly desired to relieve herself of a doubt. Quote, from the two statements, he sometimes goes to Braja, and he spent 2 months in Braja. He must have left Braja and went to Dwarka. Purnamasi said, read the rest of the book. The words of Padma Purana will explain. Vrinda read as follows, quote, here's that Padma Purana reference. Quote, then Nanda and the others, along with their sons and wives, the cows, animals, and birds, having spiritual forms by the mercy of Krishna, entered an airplane and went to the Supreme Vaikuntha, awarding the people of Vraja his own supreme spiritual abode, superior to all others. He then entered Dwarka, while being praised by the Devatas. Reading this, Vrinda then said, Brahma Samhita also speaks of the place called Maha Goloka, superior to all other places. And she cites Goloka Namni Nijadamni Tale Chatasya, etc. I worship the Supreme Lord Govinda, by whom respective powers are given to the abodes of Durga, Shiva, and Vishnu, which are situated below his own planet Goloka. Also in the Narayaniya of Moksha Dharma, Mahabharat, it is said, quote, O Kaunteya, I wander in many forms on earth, on Brahmaloka, and in eternal Goloka. Having described this, Vrinda said in surprise, This is also written in Harivangsha when Indra speaks after coming to bathe Govinda. It is also described as all-pervading. Here's the Harivangsha quote. Above this is the planet of cows, protected by the perfected devotees. Oh, Krishna, this is Indra. It is all-pervading, great, above the Brahman. Above that is your abode full of great powers, Goloka, Gokula, which I cannot understand, though I have asked Brahma. Vrinda says, please explain this to me. Thank you for asking that question. Purnamasi said, quote, the word sadhya means those who get mercy among all of us, not the devatas who are called sadhyas. Sarvagata means that the place exists by means of Krishna's inconceivable energy, just like his form. It is the highest because it makes its appearance to its worshipper. Mahakasha refers to Brahman, for Vedanta Sutras say, Akashas tal lingat. Akasha refers to Brahman because of its similar characteristic, which gives rise to other things. The place of the cows is above Brahman and should be realized. Tapomayi means full of all powers. Yam na vimidha means Brahma does not know it, since it is hard to realize. Next, Vrinda then read from the Bhagavatam. Hey, Nanda Maharaj had been astonished to see for the first time the great opulence of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet. And how to see Varuna and his servants had offered such humble respect to Krishna. Nanda described this to his fellow cowherd men. The cowherd men considered that Krishna must be the Supreme Lord. It's all these verses again. We're hearing it for the third time. You want to hear it again for the third time, or you know what it says? You want to hear it again? Okay. Oh. Will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his transcendental abode? Filled with eagerness, they said, or thought. Because he sees everything, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, had automatically understood what the cowherd men were conjecturing, wanting to show his compassion to them by fulfilling their desires. The Lord thought as follows. Certainly people of this world are wandering among higher and lower destinations, which they achieve through activities performed according to their desires and without full knowledge. Thus, people do not know their real destination. Thus, deeply considering the situation, the all-merciful, Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari revealed to the cowherd men his abode, which is beyond material darkness. Lord Krishna revealed the indestructible spiritual effulgence, which is unlimited, conscious, and eternal. Sages see that spiritual existence in trance when their consciousness is freed from the modes of material nature. The cowherd men were brought by Lord Krishna to the Brahmahrada, made to submerge in the water and then lifted up. From the same vantage point that Krsna saw the spiritual world, the cowherd men saw the realm of the absolute truth. Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men felt the greatest happiness when they saw that transcendental abode. They were especially amazed to see Krishna himself there, surrounded by the personified Vedas who were offering him prayers. Vrinda said, what happiness do we get from these verses? Purnamasi said, They saw Krishna's abode, called Goloka, as their abode, and he gave that to them later. He brought them to the holy spot, glorified by Akura. In order to make that place famous, he submerged them in its water. He brought them to Vrindavan, and they saw the planet of the Lord with a human form. They did not see the spiritual world in the water, as Akura did. One should not understand otherwise. The word pura means, this is dictionary definition, old, close, related, beyond, and soon in the future. The word loka refers to a spiritual realm beyond tamas. Satyam, jnanam, and other such words refer to the Lord's Swarup, involving his Chit Shakti, since he cannot be touched by the material gunas. Then there's other Sanskrit terms. There's various phrases seem to indicate that the Vraja of the material world is not the spiritual world, but Brahma Samhita indicates that Nanda's place is the same as the spiritual Goloka. In Goloka, Krishna was praised by the Vedas, the best of women, the Vedas, describing Krishna's pastimes from birth, are the witnesses. When he appeared before the cowherds of Vraja, they saw him as their son only. Other followers are not mentioned. Thus, the verse indicates that in Goloka, the cowherds serve Krishna. Nanda and the others will taste only for Krishna, become most blissful and astonished. When Krishna appears on earth, the cowherds cannot see that planet. Thus, they seem to be ignorant. Janovai. The word jana refers to the devotees, as in this verse, that same Bhagavatam reference from Canto 29, Canto 3, Chapter 29. That's the pure devotion, unmixed with the modes. Devotees, jana, do not accept any kind of liberation. Salokya, Sharsti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And chapter 25, Krishna is taking a vow he'll protect his devotees, and because they're his swajana. In his mind, Krishna spoke this way because of his strong faith in his people. This clearly shows that the people of Vraja were his most intimate friends. If the word jana referred to ordinary people, then his mercy, that is showing Goloka, would have been spread to all people. This would also not agree with the words svam gatim, their abode. Thus, my own people, the greatest devotees, are bewildered in this material world by my power of ignorance and wander about in different forms. They think that they are ultimately impersonal in form and do not know their abode, known as Goloka. This is described as follows. Canto 10, Chapter 11. They couldn't perceive material tribulations. That's verse again. This means, quote, my Leela Shakti, which makes them think they are material, produces this effect. Because of that ignorance, Nanda was astonished at seeing Varuna's abode. This is how to understand the statement that he showed them his abode and then later gave it to them. We're not done yet. It's 8:25. Should I stop and we'll continue tomorrow? Okay. Tomorrow is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on Ujjvala Nilamani. We're way up there. So I'm not going to say it. It's already said. See if there's discussion. I'm sure there's going to be some discussion.
Guru Maharaj, I have one question. After hearing all this commentary, in the 4th chapter, 9th shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me
Yeah, he
divyam
does.
evam vyoveti tattvataha. So one who understands in tattvataha my transcendental activities and nature of appearance, tektva deham punarjanma naiti, doesn't return to this material world, but attains my supreme abode. So here it seems like the people of Vraja who are on a very high level of Krishna prema, they don't understand Krishna tattvataha. So is it, my question is love for Krishna is greater where the knowledge is not necessary, or is it through the knowledge that one attains that kind of love?
It's not the second one. It's the other one. By attachment to Krishna, one can know him in truth. Not if you know him in truth, then you can attain Krishna.
So you said attachment to Krishna is more important, through which all the knowledge, everything comes.
Yeah.
Okay. And we are studying all these things, hearing all these things to increase and enhance our attachment.
Well, and understand the very, 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 that's 4 varies, special nature of the Brijbasis amongst all of his devotees. And there's so many devotees. And the Brijbasis are very, 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 very special. So we look up to all, we have regard for all devotees and look especially to the Brijbasis. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So my question is, like when the Yoga Maya closes the curtain, what keeps them so attracted to Krishna? Because
Their love, the prema. Prema isn't dependent upon knowing.
So
that was his question.
Right. Yeah, I thought so, Maharaj.
It's the same question asked in a different way.
So I was just contemplating on this since yesterday, Maharaj. So I was thinking that, like in our hearts also, that attraction is there.
It's covered. It's there innately. It's there to some degree, and it's covered. It goes up and down, but it's covered. Modes of nature are working us over.
So for the cowherds, since they are the associates of Krishna already, is this the reason, or I'm just trying to see what is their reason for their love or attraction?
It's natural. That's the word that our acharyas use over and over and over. It's natural. They've gone beyond the unnatural. They're the natural. My advice is don't use your analytical power to try to understand it. It's what does natural mean? It's just natural. It's beyond Prakriti, beyond the modes of Prakriti means and implies modes. when you hear the word Prakriti, it's modes. It's beyond Prakriti. Their consciousness is beyond that influence. And because it's beyond that influence, they understand whatever Krishna wants them to understand. They don't understand whatever Krishna doesn't want them to understand. They're little puppets. They're toys.
My main objective of asking the question is how can we get over our tendencies?
Bhakti. Brajabhumi.
Like the Vrajvasis, the current Vrajvasis who are living in Vrindavan, when we go there, since we know the language, we can converse with them.
Yeah.
So many of them, they say like we don't even go to the temple, but they will all talk about Thakurji all the time. So is it important to go to the temple or?
Sure.
I always think about that. How come they are not going
We don't imitate. Prabhupada advised, our acharyas advised, don't mix because we can't understand. Now, they may not understand also. And they may understand, because there's lots of modes of nature in Vrindavan. There's not only Shuddha Bhakti. But there is an innate affection and affinity. And there's degrees of that too. You follow? Okay. Anything?
In today's class, the Goloka, the form of Krishna, I had a question about like when the devotees go to the Goloka, what would be their form?
The form is eternal. And their form is whatever their eternal form is. That's what their form is.
Yeah, but about like devotees, do they have any form in that?
Krishna knows.
Only Krishna.
We need to discover what Krishna knows. And it will be revealed if we continue on the path of bhakti. It's whatever Krishna reveals. It can be whatever Krishna reveals. It is what it is.
I mean, my assumption, like when Krishna form is that all the souls who are like, only soul can go to that.
Only souls can go? What else? Yeah. Prakriti doesn't go. What's your question? I'm not sure what your question is.
When after this birth, life cycle, birth, death, life cycle,
the body drops, the soul goes somewhere.
What?
The body drops,
yeah.
Soul goes somewhere. Supposing the consciousness of a soul is Shuddha, Vishuddha, Shuddha Sattva. That soul in Shuddha Sattva has form. It's not like they get another material body. That soul has form. And whatever the form is of that soul, that's what they manifest in Goloka. Whatever that form is, their eternal spiritual identity. They don't get a body. They have spiritual form. Is it clear?
Online questions. I think this question is from Hari Prabhu from Boston. What's your advice to someone going through emotional heartbreak? How is it that we get so attached to a person, but I can't feel any attachment to Krishna? It seems so abstract.
It seems so
abstract.
Well, it's not abstract. It's just our affinity for matter is so strong. Because of that affinity for matter, there's no attachment for the spiritual dimension because of our material affinity. It's not abstract, it's just we're covered.
Question from Prakash Prabhu. There are many infinite living entities totally. Is there any explanation by our acharyas how many of the living entities are in Goloka Vrindavan relative to other spiritual planets and
No.
relative to material world?
No. There's not, no. Some percentage data like that, no.
I ask because this question comes up hearing the wonderful nature of Brajavasis and helps in understanding how fallen I am relatively.
Yeah, but there's still no statistics.
That's all.
Okay. Yes?
So Maharaj, I'm going through different cycles of moods all the time. How can I be very careful while interacting with Brajavasis?
Yeah, just
Present.
stay in the Hare Krishna temple in Vrindavan. That's what you do. You don't interact with them. You see them and you from a distance. You don't interact closely.
So Maharaj, on Facebook, 2 or 3 Brajavasi, they sent friends request and like we were friends. So I feel very like I have heard those stories when somebody offended Brajavasis and they.
It's real. It's real stuff.
Yeah. So I want to. I feel like I should stay away.
Yeah, that's good. That's recommended. Respect from a distance. Not just to avoid offense, but the other reasons already mentioned. Their mood and etc. We don't understand, and leave it like that.
Thank you.
Respect from a distance. That's all.
One more question.
And I don't know bridge Basis that are tuning into Facebook. What's that all about? Anyway, go ahead.
Question from Vishalaksh Prabhu. All the devotees in Vrindavan are thinking themselves as an ordinary people, even though very exalted. Is it due to their extreme humility? They mean and live like that?
It's their natural humility. It's not extreme humility. It's their natural humility. Humility is something that a devotee should cultivate when we're not humble. We should cultivate humility, and that's the main humility is a spiritual conception of self. That's real humility. And when one has achieved a spiritual conception of self, then humility just becomes natural. Not like you try to become humble. You're just naturally humble. It's a quality of the soul. And that's their quality. Naturally humble.
Question from Udayananda Prabhu. Just trying to contemplate on what would Krishna be doing in any given season, day and time. Is it mentioned in any scripture to refer to?
What's the question? Krishna's what?
What Krishna would be doing in any given season, day, time?
Yeah. It's a very esoteric meditation on his activities during different parts of the day and different times of the year. It's an esoteric meditation, and it's abundant, and we're not ready for that. So just stick with trying to hear the holy name. That's a good place to start right now.
Question from Uday Prabhu. How to inculcate the humility naturally due certain degree and possessions always pride comes on.
Well, it's a spiritual conception. Just become very versed in chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita. And, but that's knowledge. And with knowledge comes detachment. Detachment is the mind part, the pride part. With knowledge comes detachment. And follow the bhakti process. It's the same. How to? It's follow the bhakti process. Chant is our most important means to achieve what you just asked. Chanting without offense. So it's not like you need some other magic or something. It's just chant without offense. And hear the message of Bhagavad Gita very carefully. There's so many places in the Bhagavatam as well where the spiritual conception of self is identified. Read Jad Bharata Maharaj Rahugana. He really bashes anybody that's got any other idea. He bashes the king, and the king likes it. He becomes detached from the material conception. Sound. Srila Prabhupada ki? Jai.